Hello again everybody, and welcome to this final mission in the test flight preview series for the MiG-21 Fishbed. And it's been a lot of fun so far, and again this is a pre-release version of the software that may or may not be representative of what you'll see in the final product. So I'm very much so looking forward to the final version being released so that I can go on and, with confidence at least, that I'm showing the final version, do some tutorial videos, and do the real remainder of the test flight series. But yeah, so far, highly recommended. It's been a lot of fun to fly. And what I'm going to do in this final mission is just essentially the same thing I did last time, go through some different loadout options. So let me show you what I have loaded up this time. I'll go to the external view. And again, I have the ECM pod loaded on the center line, and I also loaded some additional countermeasure dispensers right there on the ventral, sort of mounted on the fuselage and back of the pod. So I'll see how countermeasures work this time around. On my inboard wing stations, I have a couple of 500 kilogram bombs of a type that I don't believe I've dropped these yet in this series. And I have some high drag bombs out there on the outboard wing stations. Okay, so let me go ahead and set up, since I'm at low altitude, for a high drag release on those outboards. And I have already got this set up, incidentally. I've got the ground position on this switch. This one I leave alone. Okay, 1, 2, that's my outboard stations set up here on my selector switch. Down, down, up, up. I've got my tactical drop switch up. I've got my guards for my weapons release and the tactical drop switch released. So now all I need to do is come around and run in on this target. Now when I have the ECM pod up, I have this panel, which I have, I believe, set up to allow me to spin some countermeasures. So countermeasures are going to be controlled by this switch. And there you go. So hold that one down and you'll just spin some flare. Or chaff and flare, depending on how you set it up. And it's set up with different options that you'll designate in the mission editor. And just gotta see how this looks real quick coming out. Okay, yeah, very cool. Yeah, that's very nice. At least we have that option in the MiG-21. Okay, so high drag bombs. So I've got to scope out exactly what part of the scale to use based on my technique, airspeeds, and dive angles that I like to release from when I do this, and this will be work for later. Yeah, let me just come around on this first set of targets right here and just see if I can get something in there in the right general area. So I'll go full throttle on this. I'm at about 800 kph. Let me just see what I'm going from here. I'll go for about the bottom of the scale. I believe that's going to be at least maybe partially right. At least in the right general area. Okay, that's not bad at all. And I think that's what's happening there. I mean, they react like high drag bombs. I've got to... Okay, I released the wrong bombs again. I've got to figure out, or maybe the scale, or maybe that selector switch just is not working the way that I expect it to, but... Okay, I released my 500 kilogram bombs of whatever type they were. I believe they might have actually been cluster munitions on the inboard station. And I've still got my high drags out there on the outboard. I'm either doing this wrong every single time, or I don't know, I'm just not understanding the scale. But it might have something to do with the pre-release version, or maybe I just need to really get back into the manual on this. I've actually, incidentally, since I've installed the pre-release version, this is really all I've done. I've read the manual a few times, and when it comes to the details that I like to get into in the test flight series and the on-the-range videos, yeah, I'm not there yet, but I'm close. Okay, so let me come down and do this again. I know for a fact this time I'm going to have high drag bombs, so let me try that same type of release. At least now I know that I have a technique that can work from low altitude on whatever type of bomb that was. I thought it was just a regular old general purpose bomb, but it sure reacted like a cluster bomb. So let me try a high drag release on this next target coming up. 850 kph. And on this one, I'll be able to, well, I won't be able to pull out aggressively because I still have that ECM pod, so I still have that 5G limitation on the airframe. Okay, but I can push the throttle back up now. 900. I'll just go for the bottom of the scale and eyeball that as a good release point for high drag bombs. And this is going to drive me insane. Okay, let me go to the 3-4 setting. Come around, I'll do a quick release right here. Okay, and there you go. You can see the parachutes release. And that'll just be a matter of finding the right dive angle and the right sight picture to get in that sight to make that release. And let me see how this does. Okay, a little bit short, which is exactly what I wanted. So there we go. Some good low altitude options in the MiG-21, even though I still have a lot of work to do when it comes to figuring out exactly how to work that. Okay, that is extremely cool. Okay, let me go ahead and dispense, or cease dispensing. Okay, so let me see here. Let me see what else I want to do here. I know that I have some more options. Let me go back to the mission editor and get some gun pods up. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with a new loadout. Let me go to the external view. And I have a couple of gun pods loaded on my inboard wing station. This is going to be awesome. Okay, and I've also got a couple of air-to-air missiles just to kind of just make it look a little more aesthetically pleasing, I guess. But yeah, let me see how these gun pods work. This should be interesting. And again, with the pods, I have this panel that appears up here. So I'll power up the pods. Okay, I'll go GSH-23. I wonder what this does. I'll find out. Okay, reloading. Okay, so that arms the gun. Let me also arm my normal gun that I have mounted on the aircraft. Okay, so I'll keep this in the air position. Okay, I'll go to the gun position. I'll leave this in S, automatic. And I can't remember anything about employing the gun. I think I go to gyro right here. The rest of it I don't worry about because it's all controlled by the trigger. Let me just do a quick test fire. That definitely has the gun pods up and running. Oh, that is sweet. Okay, that's running. I wanted to do the I wanted to see if I could get my my normal gun pod, or my normal fuselage mount of a gun working. Okay, so I can't fire all three guns at the same time apparently, which is a shame, but okay, so let me come around on some ground targets and see what kind of damage I can deal with this gun pod. I know I have some trucks out here moving in the distance. There we go, got visual on those trucks. Let me go ahead and set up for a nice run on these, and I'll be right back once I'm lined up. Okay, coming around on this run, I'm just going to come in just straight in line with that convoy. I think I need to go to the ground position on this switch. I forget. It's that's yet to come in the On the Range series. So for now, I'm just going to take this as is. I don't really need the computed gun sight for this. I can use the standby reticule just fine. Okay, so let me go ahead and run in on these targets and see what kind of damage I can do. I'm going to fire from a longer range than I have been firing in the past, and I can see the reticule wandering around down there. Okay, so let me bring it around just to the right a touch. It's going to be sluggish on the pullout, that's why I want to fire from a longer range. Try this. Okay, a little too far out. This should be about right. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I've already ran through that ammunition, and it's automatically stepped over to my internal gun, which is very nice. It kind of helped me out a little bit. But yeah, not much ammunition in the MiG-21 gun system. I actually knew that coming in, but it didn't really occur to me until I was there squeezing off a whole lot of rounds. But yeah, very, very effective. Yeah, that opens up a whole lot of options for air to ground. I'm liking that a lot. And let me see, I've got one more option to look at. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with one more loadout. Let me go to the external view. And I have KH-66 or KH-23, depending on the era and exactly what model we have here. They're beam rider, kind of like the old AGM-12 Bullpup that you might have seen on some Vietnam era aircraft on the US side. But what I'm going to do is fire these missiles, and they're going to essentially follow the radar beam into the target. So I have a couple of different ways that I can set this up. I'm going to go to the ground position. I'm going to, for these, I'm going to select the 1-2 position, S24 1-2, and it is only going to fire one of these at a time, however. Okay, so I'm going to leave it in the launcher. I'm going to leave it not in the bombardment. I'm going to leave it up in the top S position. Okay, automatic. Okay, the rest of that's good. I can't remember, honestly, if I need to go tactical drop on or not. I don't believe I do. I'm going to leave that off. Well, no, I'll leave it on just for the heck of it, just in case I'm wrong. And I'll enable my weapons release switch. Now, what I need to do to make this work is get my radar up and running and in the fixed beam position. So now, the point that my reticule is right now on my gun sight is exactly where my radar is pointing. So that's where I need to align myself on the ground to have this missile guide on that radar beam and impact on the ground. Now the first run, I'm going to have the radar lock up the ground. It's not going to lock on a target, it's just going to pick a spot on the ground and stabilize the beam over that spot and keep that spot locked. So let me come around and I'll continue harassing my favorite target out here, these trucks moving around. So now I've stabilized on the ground, I've given them some lead. A little too much lead. Let me go for about there. Okay, that'll be good enough. Okay, so let me go ahead and fire this missile. Okay, missile away. And it's just going to follow that radar beam right down to exactly where the reticle is pointing on the ground. So let's see here. I do need to keep pointing at it to keep the radar locked. And impact. Okay, that was dead on that last truck. So I do need to lead them a little bit more than I thought in that case. And boy, you get an asymmetric aircraft. This is why those, like, everything, generally speaking, comes off in pairs. Boy, this is interesting to say the least, trying to control the aircraft. And you saw what happened when I released. The aircraft just shook around. Boy, this is, it's not uncontrollable by any means, but boy, it is different. Okay, so that's the first way to do it. The second way is to do it is not to lock the radar onto the ground, and I think that that gives you a lot more options when it comes to, you know, especially for moving targets, keeping the missile going in the right direction. Okay, so I'm going to do like a little lock on after launch. Well, that's kind of a misnomer. I'm not actually going to lock on, but I'm going to fire and then fine tune the impact point as I go. And I'm just going to do this on one of the circular targets out there. Or no, I might hit those trucks again if I can pick them up. But this is going to be with the radar not locked onto the ground and just me manually flying the aircraft in there to a target location and keeping that reticle steady over the ground. Okay, so I think I've got those trucks. I can still see the smoke, so that's what I'll go for. Yeah, right there. Okay, so let me go in here and let me just kind of fire the missile. Okay, now I can start getting accurate. Now let me go ahead and bring it up. Start tracking target. Okay, right there. I got that truck. Now just manually keep it steady. Let it ride the beam right on in there. And impact. Okay, that's dead on target. That I think is the way to employ these weapons. Locking on to the ground with a radar, it works. But yeah, if you want accuracy, just manually fly it in there. And that might not always be what you want to do. In a high threat environment, I know there is something to be said for not having to be that precise, not having to, you know, concentrate so much. Because I was heads down during that entire run. But boy, these are a blast to employ. This is like my favorite weapon in the MiG-21 as of right now. There's, yeah, just amazing. So, okay, let me go ahead and go through one more option, yet another option, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back with the final option that we have here, and this is kind of off the wall, but it's a tactical nuclear weapon that we have the option of dropping in the MiG-21. So if I go to the external view, you can see, yeah, it's still a little bit of a work in progress when it comes to the pylon, but, well, actually, I don't know, that might have been actually a, well, obviously the pylon's missing, but I'm also missing my gear door, which, I don't know, that might have been something that really happened. Maybe they really did remove the gear doors to mount this. I kind of doubt it, though. But, okay, anyway, let me bring it back in, and I've got this new panel up here, so let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Okay, let me go to the normal drop position. Oh yeah, they got that's little like copper safety wire over the switch that represents. So you would break the wire and then go up on the guard and up on the switch. Okay, let me see. Gun missile, rocket B, spec B. Let me go there. Okay, armed. I can either go high drag, low drag is what I'm taking that to be. I'll go high drag so that it comes down on the chute, and I'll go for a ground burst. I think that's all there is to it. And I'm going to assume that I do this just as I would on a normal bombs release. Okay, so let me come around here into the target area. And I'm not sure. I'd have to research and see, even if there is any information out there on, you know, the technique that would be used for tactical nuclear weapon deployment in a Soviet aircraft. I'm not sure exactly what the yield is on either of the weapons that we have. It's not going to be much. I mean, it's not the... I mean, these aren't your big doomsday weapons. These are just tactical battlefield nuclear weapons that we have here. But I'm assuming some sort of a loft delivery would be in order. Or at least some sort of a level delivery followed by getting out of the area as quickly as possible. But then again, it does have the chute on it, so maybe I need to just kind of overfly the target and turn out of the area. I'll try that and see how this works. Okay, so... Okay, weapon away. We turn and climb. I'll just leave it kind of trimmed out here in the climb and see what we have here. Okay, so the weapon's going in on the area. And I set it up for a ground burst. I was expecting a chute to deploy. Apparently not, but yeah, that's not a bad shot in either case. Okay, coming up on impact. And, oh wow, there we go. Okay, that'll do a little bit of damage. And, oh my goodness. Okay, so the graphics are a little bit of a, and I'm pretty sure this was like a known issue, or not an issue, but a known feature was that the graphics were just kind of provisional. They were just in there to rough it in and give us the option to do that if we wanted to. I don't know why you would necessarily want to. I mean, that's kind of cheating to my way of thinking. I mean, that takes all the tactics, takes all of the, you know, fun out of flight sims, going in there and just throwing a nuke into the area. I can't imagine that being fun, but yeah, it is there as an option. So, I mean, it's cool that we can do that. And okay, so let me wrap this video up. I have one more segment for you if you are still around in the watching the videos. So I'll be right back. And to close out this video series, I have one more segment, and it's specifically for those of you who have had the patience and the interest in aviation and flight simming to stick it out to the end. I know a lot of folks have already gone by the wayside and are just off doing whatever they're doing, but if you stick around through this, I'm going to try to make this worth your while. What I'm going to do is show you how to do a JATO takeoff, jet assisted takeoff. I can't think of anywhere in flight simming where this has been modeled. It's the first time I've ever done it. So let me go to the external view and show you what I mean. Okay, so on this aircraft I have a centerline fuel tank, the big 800-liter one. I have 2 heavy munitions on the wing as well as a couple of missiles. There's no way under normal circumstances that I would make this takeoff run and be able to get airborne by the time that I get to the end of the runway. But I have 2 JATO bottles strung right there underneath my wings, and those are going to give me a little bit of a rocket-assisted boost and give me enough acceleration going down the runway to get into the air. So let me show you how this is done. Okay, I've got 2 switches down here on my horizontal console. I'll go JATO start on and JATO jet on. All that does is supply power to the system that runs the JATO. The bottles fire automatically when I hit a certain airspeed. I believe it's set to 150 kph in this sim, but I think eventually I'll get to a point where I can figure out the system enough to set that to whatever speed that I want. But 150 kph is fine. It fires automatically, so all I have to do now is hold the brakes, run the throttles up, and go through my normal takeoff sequence. I'm going to release the brakes. I'm going to go full afterburner and see how much acceleration I can get out of this and see if I can make it off the runway. Okay, JATO bottles have fired, and yeah, that is a kick in the pants. Okay, let me rotate. Going for that 4 or 5 degree rotation. I'm just going to hold the nose up and see if I can fly this thing off the runway. And yeah, this is a heavy, heavy aircraft in the configuration it's in right now. Okay, and I am airborne, and I'm going to go gear up. And yeah, I would not have been able to do that without JATO bottles, or at least that would have been extremely hairy, extremely close. And the difference there was that the JATO bottles turned an extraordinary takeoff into quite a ordinary one. That was just your basic takeoff. We get right down to it with a little bit of a kick in the pants from the JATO bottles. So I just wanted to throw that in there, and I do have one more detail to go through right here. There would normally be like a JATO jettison area out here in the distance. Let me go flaps up. And I'll just come out here into this open field and I'll say this is the designated JATO jettison area. Now I can flip this switch up to press the button, and my JATO tank's just jettisoned, and there we go. Now I can go and proceed on the mission as normal. So I just wanted to throw that in there just as something a little bit unique about this model of aircraft that we have right here. I've never seen that modeled, and it's a good topic to close this video series out on. So, folks, I hope you did enjoy this. I sure did enjoy putting it together, and I will see you in the test flight series that's coming up for this, and also in the on-the-range tutorials, as well as all the other single missions. So if you did enjoy this, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Definitely leave likes on the videos if you did enjoy them, and leave some comments. Your feedback sure does help out a lot. So, thanks again, folks. I will see you next time.